What's going on, guys? Chuck with 50 Tactical. Going to talk to you about staging and placing your IFAKs today. So I was getting ready today and I'm running some errands and I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts. Everybody has those shirts that you kind of wear when you're working around the house and all that kind of stuff, just comfortable stuff, right? So this is mine. I've had this shirt for years and years, and I was putting it on and I had to actually touch up a sewing job that I did right over here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got about a 4-inch one way, and then it kind of makes an L about 3 inches the other direction. And what that's from is years ago, or a few years ago, I was working on a rent house that I had in Midtown Tulsa. I was messing with the springs on the garage door, and I was winding and then tensioning those springs, and I had kind of a jerry-rigged way I was doing it, and I was up on a ladder. It was late at night. I was by myself. Nobody was around. Didn't have any tenants in the house at that time. And so I'm cranking on that tensioner, and where that mounted to the frame of my garage, that header came loose and it spun around and it shot. I was using, because I'm an idiot, I was using pieces of rebar. If you guys have never done that, it's those big springs above your automatic garage door openers or your garage doors. And there's a ton of tension on there, and it's extremely dangerous, and I was extremely stupid. While I was tensioning that header popped out, it shot away from the wall, it spun around, it actually took my hand and wrapped my hand up in it, but it shot that piece of rebar out with such force that it actually nicked me right here in the bicep. It ripped my shirt, and caused a pretty good bruise and a pretty good gash right there. I was very, very lucky that I didn't, have some arterial bleed or something like that. Literally just a few millimeters away would have probably put that in and caused a lot more damage to me. So what does that have to do with this video? Well, I was at a rent house that I typically, would go in there with my tools and fix whatever. So I wasn't living there at the time, so I didn't have the kits staged around the house like I normally would, right? It's not my house. But I had my personal IFAK on that I carry. So I had gauze and bandages and stuff, and I had a tourniquet. But what got me thinking about that today was when I put that on and I had to touch up that sewing job, was about how, if that had happened at my house, right? I was mobile, so I was out for the day. I had my gear with me. But what if I was at my house? I wouldn't have necessarily had a tourniquet on me, depending on what I was doing that day. What would that have done in my garage at the house, which I don't do this anymore. I pay people to do that because it's not worth the risk. But, at the time I was thinking back, was I staging, and did I have a tourniquet staged or an IFAK staged in my garage? And to the best of my recollection, I don't think I did at that time. Again, it's several years ago. So I was going to throw this out there to you. Where do you have your IFAKs staged? Now, people think of that like when they're mobile or when they're out and about or on a kit or at the range or some gear. But what about the house? I mean, that's where most accidents are going to happen. That's where you're going more likely outside of a car crash. That's where you're going to need to use these types of gear, these types of equipment. Falling off a ladder, that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of stories where people are out hunting, but really let's talk about and focus about being at the house. Now, where should you stage an IFAK? And at the minimum, we don't have to have a full IFAK. Let's think of it in terms of a bleeding control kit. So when I say that, I mean, at a minimum, a tourniquet. You should have some type of gauze, would be a bonus. A hemostatic agent would be something, additional there. I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to hemostatics, they're expensive and they can get expensive. Invest that money on more gauze if you have to do anything, and because you're going to need the gauze in general, and the hemostatic is just a bonus. So let's look at blood stopping. So staging a bag, and it could be something as simple as a Ziploc bag with a tourniquet and some gauze in it. That should be in your garage. It should be right there where your fire extinguisher is. You should have those throughout your house. Now, I'm not talking about overdoing it and stuff, but you should have something like that centrally located, maybe in the kitchen. It's a common area. If your house is divided up like most houses, you've got a master bedroom on one end and and additional bedrooms or children's bedrooms on the other. So staging a kit like that, centrally located in maybe the bathroom on each of those ends of the house, something to think about. So you've got, no matter where you're at, you don't have far to go. Remember, you can bleed out and die in, depending on what you're doing and your size and a bunch of other factors, in sub 4 minutes. That's not the time it takes you to lose consciousness. So you've got to get to these things, and if you have to go, especially if it's a femoral, and you've got to go in and you've got to traverse a long area, odds are, not in your favor. You could lose consciousness or lose the ability to appropriately apply that tourniquet or stop that bleed. So definitely one in the garage. Again, think blood control, not necessarily an IFAK. You can save a little money there and not have to go full bore. But blood control kit in the garage, blood control kit in the kitchen. Again, I say, put them right there next to where your fire extinguishers are. You need to have one of those in the kitchen as well. And then one stage in the bathroom of if you have opposing ends of the bathroom. Now, if you don't have that, then just put one in the master bath or the bathroom. And then maybe if you're separated, again, throw some maybe in a hall closet or something like that. Be creative. You shouldn't have to go more than 15 yards to try to get to a kit. And just kind of 15, 20 yards, leave that as kind of a good point of reference for you. But again, something that was brought to my attention, and I was reminded of the close call that I had, and it was just an accident, just a stupid accident. But it could have been very well in just a matter of just a small fraction of an inch, could have been a life-threatening situation. All right, that's it. Just want to throw that out there. If you guys have any questions, put them below. Like, comment, share. Make sure you're subscribed to us over on YouTube. And that's it, guys. Enjoy your day, and you know the drill, my friends. Even while you're driving, stay deadly.